It is 4:55 a.m. Just checking to see if anyone is awake at this time of the wee hours of the morning, wherever you are in the world. I would think by now that most people are getting quite antsy, I tell you. Yes. Oh, wow, what a time we're in, you know? What a time we're in. Amazing. Greetings, Grand Rising. Greetings. Just coming on here just to see who may be up. See who's up. What's going on currently for you. So the video that I did, love you too, hon. The video that I did with the music yesterday, Instagram cut me off. Greetings, Brenda, Grand Rising, or Grand Sleeping. And so I went over to YouTube and I continued to play the music. Yes, I did, because, you know, I don't make them things that bother me and stop me. So I did put on some music. So it should be up shortly, of course. Because one of the messages that I keep hearing coming from Spirit is to dance. Dance, play music, and dance. Did I say dance? Yeah. Dance and play music and dance. And the reason is because it shifts the energy around you, and it also helps with where you are grounding the new earth, where you're grounding that newer part of yourself, and also everything you bring into manifestation. It is extremely imperative to not allow yourself to go into the fears and where anyone else's thought process may be with what they're processing, because everyone is processing differently, and some may be processing from past lives and timelines. I prefer to say timelines because we're really actually running on different programming in different timelines. We really are. I know for me, persistently, I'm in this timeline in ancient Egypt where I was poisoned, or they tried to, I was, you know, I don't want to say they to put it out as the extension of the outside of me, but it is in the sense of anything that is trying to stop, that comes up as the resistance energy from other people who are wanting to still hold on to the old patriarchal energy. See? And so what happens is those people that want to hold on to that old patriarchal energy, they're either in fear, some are maybe at another level of the conspiracies, and usually that conspiracy fear comes from giving away your power. And a lot of times on a subconscious level, that there are individuals who they're really afraid of that change, and they don't want to accept the change that's coming, you see. And so I already picked up on, because, you know, every day the energy is changing, and I picked up on that there's going to be temper tantrums flying. A lot of it's going to come through in a masculine form. You know, I don't know where Mars is in the chart right now, but it's just a lot of masculine energy, and like amplified, and anger, frustration is going to build up more. There's going to be probably even more people probably thinking about wars and thinking if war is going to come on. And when I say wars, I'm even talking civil wars, okay? That there's not enough of this to go around. There's also going to be some who are trying to get attention and say, oh, look at what I did over here, and I helped you, and I did more here, and, you know, so on and so forth. So be very conscious about what you're taking in. Again, what you're reading, what you're listening to. If you feel you're at a place where you are strong in your power, and it doesn't matter what you read, what comes at you, kudos to you. You know, I had to kind of reprieve and hold back myself a little bit for these past few hours. It's certain things. I also had some dreams that came up, or came through, I should say, and it felt kind of apocalyptic in a way, and I only say it in the sense that it was based on people that were kind of like having to be still and they didn't know what to do anymore and felt like they had no sense of direction. But it's like I felt like I was still filtering through some timelines of when this has happened, because I know some people, they don't realize that whatever we're living out right now has happened before. It's not the first time, okay? It's just that in this case, it's not where we're going to be reverting back to having to start over again and going back into that same pain bodies and going back into the same looping of karmic frequency and so on and so forth. You see, so anything that represents what is new or what's coming in new, there's that part of the energy that shows up in others that are going to feel like they're wanting to fight against it or push against it. And so how it'll show up in your realities where it's coming across combative. So it could be where someone may be posting something against what you're saying. And it may not be, directing at you, but it's just that it's everything coming all at once. So everything to do with how people respond to crises, or if something's taken away from them, or something is shifting in the family dynamic, because there's a lot. They showed it to me again. A lot of deaths or transitions are coming up. I mean, when I say to the drumlos, and even the things that they said or put out there, to do with the C virus, about, that it only affects elderly people, but it's also affecting younger people. It's affecting anybody and almost anyone from any country, culture. It's not discriminatory. And still, what is shown to me that all of this and anything and how anyone's affected is based on consciousness. It's always about consciousness, and it will always be about consciousness with how things unfold. So it's like if you're holding a thought of you're in fear. You're in fear of getting it. You're in fear if you do have it, that you'll pass it on to your family or relatives or whoever you're in contact with. I actually heard of a woman, a nurse, that she actually committed suicide because she tested positive for the virus, and she killed herself because she felt that would stop her from spreading it to someone else. Now, I won't judge her for what has happened, because taking your life is not going to solve anything, because no matter what you're holding within, if you're not resolving the issues, the thought patterns, the feelings, how you're feeling, and facing everything, whatever you're healing and shifting, if you're not dealing with it, even if you do something to your physical body, it's still based on consciousness. Again, I teach and I talk about consciousness. Where are your thoughts when you go to bed at night? Where are your thoughts when you're walking in the street? Where are your thoughts when as soon as you hear something, you're taking it into your solar plexus, and how you're processing it? How do you process the information? How do you receive it? You see, how are you able to move along with your own personal life and how it relates to your ascension? See, because this is all about your ascension. No matter what's happening outside of you, this is about your ascension and your awakening. And that's why it's important to always to still keep going within. Every time you look at something, going within and say, how does this make me feel? How does this relate to another timeline that you may have been with that person, or how it may have affected you? So that woman who took her life, she's still going to have to face her feelings and face the choice that she made to do that, because that's not solving anything. Because no matter whatever anyone is destined to experience, or whatever the outcome is, it is going to happen. Okay? It's going to happen no matter what. We can't stop that. But you can make a difference with how you respond to things, and how you relate to things, and how you keep it moving and rolling. That I can tell you. So it's like we're going through a delicate time, I feel like we've not even touched the surface yet. It's like you're going to a restaurant and you're sitting around that table waiting to be served. And, you know, the first thing that you get is you have either a buffet or you have the hors d'oeuvres. And so we're starting in these intervals of this process of how the earth is ascending. And some may be at the table where they're starting their hors d'oeuvres, and then you have some people that may come later on and they miss the hors d'oeuvres, and then you start to get you know, other things to eat before you go to the main course. And then sometimes some of us may already have had the main course and we're ready for dessert. Where I'm at, I'm at dessert, you see, no matter how my outer reality may appear. And I'm not worried. And I do send lots of love and prayers to each and every one and families and what they're experiencing. But I know now how much more that I'm detached from everyone else's choices. See? Because where one may be in their thought process, that may not be where I'm at. And they may not necessarily understand where I'm at with where I am in my consciousness. But I can understand and empathize with so much people because I have the ability to feel into the energy, but I know I have the ability to also detach. So everyone is going through their own cycles of how they can understand themselves in detaching, remembering that you are in multiple timelines that may be still playing out, that you're having to resolve once and for all, because, you know, even we're in this rebirth cycle and reset. So it's like you're reset, like as if you just physically came out of your mother's womb, which is exactly what it is. So some of us may be still in a daze with this because you're like, oh my God, I'm back here again. But this is in a different way. You know, you're back here again. You never left. You've always been here. But it's like your outer reality is looking differently from how you perceive it and also where you're projecting. So there are more things that are coming up from what Spirit shows me. And I don't feel like as if this is just going to be an immediate resolution. Okay? I always knew, and I always had recorded in previous segments. I believe I had also said this in some lives back. Which one? There's no way I would know because I talk a lot. I have a lot of segments out there. And I just keep, like, when the energy comes in and I'll read it and it just comes in so quickly. And one of the things that I know and I can feel is that, which I did say before, was that there was going to be something that's going to happen that's going to create a massive awakening of more people on a grander scale, on a massive, massive cosmic scale. And I said this either last year or the year before. So, you know, like I always said, there's some of us that started out and we had to go through our own stuff, you know, for 3-4 years, maybe 5 years. And most of it was geared towards the divine feminine rising to her power and also healing the wounds of the past and healing through the generational wounds, healing through that process, healing through the womb space, healing, you know, a lot of stuff had to happen. We had to go through purging, lots of purging, lots and lots of purging. And so now it's time for the masculine to go through their deep purging. And so how it's going to appear is where the layer is going to come through as can start off, because everyone is different to how they respond. It can start out as dismay. It may start out as anger, processing through anger, feeling of this suppression. And then, you know, when the veil comes off, you know, when all of this illusion comes off and you really see the truth. So a lot of what's happening is that a lot of divine masculine or the masculine and males are seeing all this truth now, you know, with how they've been lied to and the deception, what's happening to their families. But, you know, it's like it's all playing out in versions of what happened in the past. And so as they're peeling back those layers and shedding off the layers of what they know to be true, just like the caterpillar. You know, I was watching a caterpillar video that popped up and not realizing that I was supposed to see that because That's the layers of what is going on. I believe the caterpillar goes through at least 4 to 5 stages of letting go of that old skin, you know. And as the you know, that part of the masculine goes through those layers, what ends up happening is they start to see things they didn't like seeing. And you wish you could turn back the clock and, you know, that you didn't know. But once you know, you can't change what you know, because it's the truth. And so in and of itself, because the truth is now out, it's going to come across as anger that's coming out. And, you know, getting any sort of weapons and stuff like that, it's not going to help anything at all, because it's not about what you physically do. It's about how are you shifting in your thoughts, what is within your subconscious mind, what is in your family genealogy that you are shifting through, from feeling betrayed, feeling hurt, poisoned, okay, where you probably stood up and said things in past lives that were not said, and now that anger is going to push through because you were not able to say it, and now you are saying it. And it's to open up that throat chakra and allow the voice to be heard, because it's flowing through you. That's coming through from the feminine principle, and it doesn't matter whether you're in a male body or a female body. And so as we are pushing through so much of these layers and what's attached to the emotional body, some may feel like they're being attacked on. Things may come out of, you know, anyone's mouth that you're interacting with that represents what is still dormant within you that is to be released. You see? So some may be in stages of paranoia and feeling like, you know, something's out to get them and something's gonna happen, and then, you know, it just builds up more on all these conspiracies and this and that, and, you know, the government this and the covert operations and the head of state and, you know, this one and where did this come from and all that stuff. And I'm telling you, regardless of who, what, when, where, don't forget to stay in your lane and work through those triggers and where the trigger is coming from. Okay, so I know everyone is on different levels and layers of what is being triggered through this C virus, okay? And still know that the bigger picture has to do with the awakening on the planet. And so this is what spirit, this is what the divine is using for the mass awakening that's happening on the planet, okay? Massive. You know, talk about how the structures, everything breaking down. And so anything that would represent peace, joy, blissfulness, this is the stage to move in that direction. That's the stage. Because each time and every moment you get to choose who you know, who are you going to be? What am I going to choose? Am I going to be in fear, or am I going to remember myself and the power that is within me, and that I'm working with the co-creator in what I'm manifesting? And then as I'm manifesting what is coming through on the physical earth plane, that means that everything that is already existing in my outer reality is going to look chaotic. It's going to be very chaotic. It's going to seem and appear as if you're in a tornado, a storm, a hurricane, everything. And it still plays a part in the ascension. It still plays a part in the awakening. And I know there's some people that don't even realize that there is an awakening happening. But I can tell you that there are more people awakening, but they're awakening to different levels. So we're at like what we call a critical junction, okay? And I don't want to use it critical in terms of that, oh my God, is something going to happen to me if I don't do this? No, it's not like that. This is where it's important to move your body. And when I say move your body, even if you feel like, well, I don't like dancing, I don't, you know, it's not my cup of tea, then some form of exercise, some sort of movement. I think it's absolutely awesome that TikTok thing came out, because everyone's kind of, you know, trying to keep themselves in a positive mindset, frame of mind with all of this. Okay? And so the reason why I'm being guided to talk about the dancing, the singing, but especially dancing, no matter what form of dancing, okay, is the fact that we're working through the parts of ourselves as far as the macabre. And it has to do with the light frequencies that are permeating and flowing through on the earth right now. Okay? And the reason is why I'm guided to say that is because as the light is flowing through the earth, what's happening is wherever you are in consciousness, meaning wherever you are in thoughts, wherever you are in how you are perceiving things, okay? You're working through your perceptions, which is that part of where you are in consciousness. Your body is also responding to what it has been used to in past lives and everything that's happening now. But if you are in fear and your thought process is, I don't have enough of this, lack and limitation, something's gonna happen, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna lose, and the red coats are coming, they're going to force me to have this vaccination, or wherever the thought process, wherever the fears lie within you, if you're not resolving the thoughts that you've had in past lives and everything, what you're experiencing now, then what will happen is your body is not going to be able to be in alignment with the changes on the planet with that frequency. Okay? And so this is why illnesses are coming up to the surface. So even though someone says that they get that they test positive for virus, there's different viruses that are out there. That's not the only one. There's different diseases out there. So every disease that comes from the body starts from the mind. Any illnesses that occur in the body starts from where you are in consciousness. And that's just a fact. Thoughts become things. Whatever you place more focus on is what you become, is what you manifest. Okay? So as we're going through this greater part of the ascension, whatever there is for you to let go of, if you're not letting go of it and you're still holding tight to it, then what's going to happen is your body is going to bring up some type of resistance. And how it does that is that it creates pain, and then it creates things that feels like it's going against you. Okay? And it feels like as if you're coming out of alignment. So of course, if there's illnesses and stuff that you are experiencing that is coming up to the surface, it has to do with where you left off from another timeline, and it usually will pass through for a few days, a few hours. It all depends, because everyone is different when it comes to their healing process. Okay, but just know that whatever does show up, it is something that is also metaphysical to do with what you're experiencing. There's meaning that there is another meaning. There's another meaning to why you are having that experience. There's another meaning. And the meaning goes deeper than just, it just happened. Okay? Because there's something for you to pay attention to now and ask yourself, if I have such and such of an illness, where did it start from? I recommend in this time frame, because before, I know people will say, I got this, this is happening to me, and it's happening to me. It's not happening to you, it's happening through you. Everything that happens through you. And so I recommend any illness, anything that anyone is experiencing health-wise, I recommend Louise Hay. You can heal your life. Okay? It has so many symptomatic things that occur in the body. And what I love about Louise Hayes with this book is that she not only gives the actual ailment itself or diagnosis, however you want to word it. she also gives the affirmation to how you can shift through it. And so I'll give you an example. Someone who has eczema, and where it comes from is, she wrote breathtaking antagonism, mental eruptions. And the way that you shift through it, because I too, whenever I do readings for anyone, and I may have the ability to tap into the body and to see where it is, and not only that, I also have the ability to go to do a regression at that moment, however spirit leads it to go, to tell you where it's, how it started, what is keeping it, stuck. It's keeping you stuck there. And so I will always in all of my sessions will always give you the affirmation to how you can transform, because that's what alchemy is that when you're heavy lead, when you are in that deep dark place of not knowing, when you are in that place of fear and worry, okay, that's lead, that's heaviness. You feel heavy inside, okay? It feels like a burden. It's scary. It's holding you back. That's lead. When you have information, knowledge, you seek to know, you investigate, you look at other things besides what someone's told you. You look for more than one way to get the answer. You seek within. That's enlightenment. When you know, like, oh my gosh, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, so that's what it is. Oh, that makes sense. That is how you lighten up. That's how you lighten up, because you lighten up because once you know what it is and you receive the truth, it feels like truth for you, because the minute you hear it, you feel better at that moment, and then you're able to shift. And so the affirmation from anyone who has eczema is, or how to shift, is harmony and peace. In other words, you're saying I'm in harmony and I'm at peace with my life and how my life is unfolding. So she says, love and joy surround me and indwell me. I am safe and secure. So in other words, eczema is a form of feeling insecure, feeling trapped, feeling as if something is holding you back, and therefore the creation of eczema starts to take form on the body. Okay, so that's one example of that. Eyes represent the capacity to see clearly past, present, and future. So say if someone has stigmatism or what you call it, with the eye, infections in the eye and so on and so forth, and you wonder where it's coming from, pink eye, stuff like that, and then what it is to shift it is, I see with love and joy. I see with love and joy. So it doesn't mean if necessarily you're seeing with hatred, but it could be more that if one is holding on to pain or things that you may not want to see, and so what happens, you start to create and manifest the infection in the eye, and that's what that means. So so one of the things that Spirit has been guiding me, pushing me to talk about is where and how dancing comes into play with this, because as we're moving through levels of this ascension, okay, because we're in a different frequency compared to last year and the year before that, okay, we're in a different timeline. And so because we are recreating newer timelines and this grid, what is happening is that we're having to be aware, even in a greater awareness of where our thoughts are every day as you wake up, because each energy itself of where your thoughts are from before and now, what's happening is it's starting to take form. So, especially if you're focused on something constantly, every day, constantly, and it starts to manifest, it starts to form. And then another person, if they're also in that same pattern and thought pattern as you are, it starts to take form and then it starts to manifest. And so what happens is, if you're holding on to a frequency of the past, okay, a frequency in the past, and then you also have the frequency of now, it's like that's also taking form in this newer reality. If it is not conducive as far as the highest and best for you or anyone around you, it is not going to hold in that space any longer. It is going to fall apart. Okay? And then what is happening is that the energies are intensifying on Earth. Actually intensifying so much. And because it's intensifying so much, this is the reason why a lot of things from the past is coming up through the body. Okay? And the Earth is purging and cleansing herself. She's cleansing herself with a lot of things, and it has to do with the pockets of energy where thought patterns and beliefs have existed, which is tied to governments, tied to structures, it's tied to the finances, it's tied to the cries of people who have been on the Earth before, that it came out of balance because everything was disproportionated, okay, meaning that it was taken from them, or things were not evenly distributed. This is to do with the indigenous people, ancient tribes, ancient cultures, in all corners of the world. And so everything that had been on one side of the spectrum that has been too much, the energies are moving it in the direction of it having to come into balance, you see. And so therefore, if it's in a space of heaviness, or there's anger that's still there, things that had not been resolved, things left out in the open, this is where it's going to come up to the surface, especially with men, and feeling like they want to go out to war, they want to go out to battle, they want to be protective now. The memory is coming back for them to what they experienced before, and they want to protect their families and their children. You see, they want to find their loved ones. They may be in fear of coming forward to do with their loved ones, and because their triggers are still there. That applies especially to a lot of twin souls. Your divine masculine is having a lot of this purging that's happening within them, and having to process, the things that having had felt safe and secure. There's feelings of insecurity that is also showing up right now, and these insecurities are taking a toll in some ways, mentally and emotionally. So it's important to, again, ground yourself and being as lighthearted as possible. And that's the reason why playing music and dancing is helpful, and it is definitely recommended, because it's shifting and moving the energy and the dynamic of the body, especially with whatever has been stored in different parts of the body. And when you're moving the body and you're in movement, it is actually allowing the energy to dissipate. It's actually allowing the energy to move. It also uplifts you, and it shifts your vibration, because you're processing as from ascending and descending. You're ascending in thoughts and ascending in feelings and vibration. And then the third dimensional aspect of yourself in the physical body is also trying to understand itself and what it's experiencing, and being able to feel balanced and being balanced. Okay, so, and then remember that we're so used to, so many are so used to the programming that's in place from what has existed before, in terms of the patterns and the beliefs and what we're used to in behaviors, especially for those who probably went to a physical place to work, or if you were used to a specific routine with how you did things. And so all of the dynamic of all of that is changing so drastically and dramatically. Your body might be functioning differently, because if you're used to waking up a certain time, this is the time where Spirit is creating this in a way where you are having to adjust and have a different routine with your mind, body, and soul. This has to do with your own personal communion and time with the divine, to reinvent yourself, to re-identify yourself, to reset. Okay, there's a huge reset that's still happening, still going on. And and that you can allow yourself to have compassion for yourself and for others if you find yourself getting overly emotional, just let it flow through. Don't allow anyone to tell you, oh, get over it. Oh, you don't need to act like that. Oh, why are you being so angry? You know, if you are feeling passionate about something and you want to speak up about something, speak up about it. Let your voice be heard. Let the feminine voice flow through. Okay? If you are at the point where you want to express yourself, whether to do it in writing or to record it. You know, if you want to do a recording, if you want to speak it out, because I know that there's a lot of social distancing happening. I know there might be some of you that feel uncomfortable because you're used to being around others and all that stuff. Well, now's the time again to reinvent yourself and see if it's time for you to start your YouTube or your Instagram or whatever platform to interact with others and to get out of that shell and holding yourself back, and you're waiting for someone to tell you how you can now bring yourself together, bring your gifts on. The doorway is open now for many of you to bring in your spiritual gifts. The door is open now for you to speak your truth, and you don't have to feel as if you're going to be punished or if something's going to happen to you because you speak your truth. Spirit showed me that there are some who, you know, we've had the experience of where the throat was slashed and stabbed, beheaded, chopped up, you know, excuse me, all these things. And so we're working through all those layers of fears of what has happened in the past. Again, that was happened in the past. And so part of you might be holding on to that part in your subconscious mind and feeling as if you can't move forward. But now you can. And this is why the divine had stepped in to get everyone away from the outside world in terms of all the hustle and bustle and everything that has kept you distracted and, you know, focused on someone else. And now you may not have anyone that you can talk to focus on with it, because again, the divine is saying, I want you to look to me now, not me personally. If you choose, that's great. But I'm talking about to the divine and where you are being led by your soul to the next level. The next leveling up, the next comeuppance, the next opportunity to speak and to express, okay? If it's that blog, if it's that book, if it's the, you know, a script for a show or a movie, a series or something, you know, let it out. Let everything come out, because each one of us have a gift. Each one of us has something to share. Each one of us has something to bring on the expansion of love and what's grounding on earth. And if you find yourself going back into the fear again, just go outside, open the door and says, I know that I am enough. I know that I'm provided for. I know that everything and all things is in its perfect divine way. And so it is. And so it is. And that's the key to how we are choosing to manifest things differently. And that it's not only based on what we have to do to get to that point. It's also letting go of the attachments that we have placed into how we manifest, how things have manifested before, how abundance flows with everything. Abundance, there's enough of everything to go around. There's enough love, there's enough of the finances, enough of this, is enough of that, that even if the finances change in another direction, there's still an abundance of that. Everything is on time, everything's on its purpose, that even if something looks like it's deceptive, that I know that I am protective. I know that I'm protected, and that therefore as I'm holding that frequency of protection, and that I'm always guided, and that everything is always on time, and everything is on its purpose and on its path for myself and for others, and it is always in the highest of intentions, of the highest integrity, and of the highest good, and of such I give Jah thanks. You see, so hold that thought for yourself and practice it daily until the point where you don't even have to say anything anymore, because it's emanating from you. It's emanating through your light. And as it is emanating through your light, you don't have to repeat it, because you already know that it's already done. You see, because you are it. Okay. It's always you. You've always been you all along. You didn't have to get it outside of yourself. See, you didn't have to get it outside of yourself. So I wanted to just share this message today. And I know that there's more to come, because it takes time to understand how things are happening during this ascension process, because it's not where we're going to be given a manual ahead of time to know what to do next, because it's about staying present also, being present, because everything's changing constantly, moving rapidly. A lot of, stuff is being put out there, which of course it has to do with the expression of the oversoul. Everything that had been hidden is now coming out. Everything that had been in the dark is now moving towards the lighter side of things. It has to be expressed. It has to be known. And so it's going to come across in some ways with peacefulness, sometimes no peace, just constant roaring. Then there's times when there's going to be laughter with it. There's times when there's going to be fear with it. There's times when there's going to be a holding back with it. And there's a time there's going to be a moving forward with it. So the expression of the all there is that shows up through each and every one of us, no matter what level, is going to continue to express itself until each person, wherever they're taking themselves, because there are some souls that are or have contracted that they are not going to see or experience everything in the physical realm, because this is not just about it's not just about where we are in the thoughts, but it's how we're grounding the thoughts and where we are in consciousness, how it shows up in the physical world. Charlize, can you pass me a water for me, please? It is where we're also bringing it on in the 5D realm, and how it shows up in the 5th dimensional and higher reality in the physical body. You see, and there isn't anything to say how it's going to look in the 5th dimensional space, but because this has to do with how the reality itself, that consciousness itself is taking on, is taking on its form into what's coming together. You see? So even if anything was written out there in the past to what this is going to look like, it may not necessarily apply right now. I have to drink some water. So so what I'm being shown is to be able to help each and every one of us to understand the dynamic of this consciousness and where it is taking you in your thought process from whatever you are releasing from the past, where you are in thoughts about what you desire and the outcome of that desire, where your body consciousness is coming into alignment from that higher perspective as it is releasing the old concepts and beliefs. Because you see, if you're still attached to the fears again, and the conspiracies, and the judgments, and all the constructs that had existed on the old earth, it is going to feel like a struggle with everything else in your reality. You see, because all the attachments that you have to those experiences, again, it represents the old. The new reality is where you're at that 0 point where you're not attached to anything, to how things have unfolded before, what has been created by or through the patriarchal system, everything that has happened throughout of all of humanity's history with what has been programmed. So because we're deprogramming ourselves. See, it's like when a computer has a virus, if you try to get rid of that virus, okay, itself, I didn't mean to use it as the pun, but that's exactly what I'm being shown, to use that as the analogy, is that the computer has a virus. There's sometimes, in some cases, there isn't anything that you can do to get rid of that virus, except if you were to do a complete wipeout and having to put in a whole entire new system in that computer. That happened to me several times during my awakening and ascension time, okay? A lot of information and data that I was putting in the book, my computer crashed, and because I was going through different levels of upgrades, and each time I went to an upgrade, something around me was breaking down. Either the phone was had to be upgraded, it was becoming full all the time, or the computer crashed and I had to get another hard drive, you know, and all that stuff, you see? Or I had to reinstall the software all over again. So this is what's happening. It's like we are having to start from zero. Nothing, empty, naked. See? That is what this is. And so if you still want to hang on too much to anything in and of itself that is not of the highest, again, this has to do with the highest and best, because there's some things we're still going to take with us. Yes, there is. There's some things that I would love to take with me. And when I say take with me, we're not going to, it's not a physical place that you're going to. Of course, if you change location, that's a part of it too. So I'm talking about where you're taking it in consciousness. That's what this is. Consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. Where your views are, where your thoughts are. And as you're taking this in consciousness, that means that you're taking a new reality that starts from zero, like a baby that's born. And the baby's born, but they don't have the baggage from other lifetimes. They don't have all those belief structures, constructs, and all that stuff. So, you know, I know that some of us want to hang on to the old things. So even if the paper money doesn't exist anymore, or even if certain restaurants and foods that we used to eat don't exist anymore, if it means that you really have to start planting your gardens and you're not able to get certain stuff, that's it. That's it. Okay, if you can't get your favorite lipstick brand or whatever, it could be anything, can you let go? Can you let go? Even if someone did something in the past that it was a secret and this and that and it came out, okay, thank you. I'm glad it came out. You know the truth now. We all know the truth of everything that has been conspired, everything that has gone against us, everything that felt like a pushback, everything felt like a pull, everything that felt like it was fighting, everything that felt that was destructive and disorderly, and how dare you, and fuck you, and I love you, and I understand, and no, I don't understand, no, I can't stand it. Can you move forward now? Can you reset yourself and press that reset button, not literal, within yourself? You see? And ask yourself, where and how am I placing the energy for myself now? Where am I placing the energy for myself in recreating how Mother Earth is supporting you with this? Because whether or not you choose to let go or not, she's still ascending. She's still moving forward and faster like a freight train. Because I can tell you, I normally have never talk about this, but I really can feel now, especially more so when the Schumann resonance is going up higher and higher. I can feel it because I start to feel like I can't go to sleep. Like I was up until 9:30 in the morning, and then I was sleeping all day, and then I was like, oh my God, it's like I feel like I can't get up. I didn't care about eating. I drank a little water and went right back to sleep again. And I felt like I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just felt like I kept to myself. And every time when I feel like I'm in this cocoon type of feeling, I know it's because Spirit is bringing in that new energy and bringing in that new template that is that's embodying within me. Because as I hear the message, as I feel the energy and I've received the downloads, I know something is shifting within me, and it's within the consciousness of myself. Because if Sharon leaves out of this body, Sharon still exists. I still exist. I am that I am that I am. You see? Where are you in your thoughts? Where are you in your beliefs? Where are you in your feelings? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you placing yourself? Where are you attaching yourself? Are you detaching or are you still attached? How are you responding to things out there, to everything you hear, to what you see? Is that who you are? Are you the illness? Are you the lack of this or not having that? You know, who are you? Who are you? That's always the question every day to ask yourself. And so again, the important thing is to move the energy, and whether it's moving the energy physically with your body, with dancing, but also moving yourself in consciousness, creating that movement within you. That is the true evolution of the soul. And that's the true freedom. That's the promised land.
The promised land is within you. It's where you take yourself, okay? That's the Exodus. The Exodus is actually movement in consciousness. Where are you moving in consciousness? Where are you moving out of that old cycle and allowing yourself to be in that new cycle of energy that's on the other side now? Because the split with the earth has taken place. She is in between both dimensions, of course, but guess what? It's much, much higher now, where she's at in thoughts and feelings, and it's an energetic pull that's pulling her, and Saturn is helping with this, okay? Pluto definitely is helping with this, and I'm aware of the fact that Chiron is prevalent right now, which has to deal with the wounds of the past, the wounds that are stored, especially right within your solar plexus region, okay? That's where a lot of the stored energy is, and patterns and beliefs and anger, okay? The wounds and of the past, and where you've held on to things and not let go, you see? So wherever it is for you to look at and review again, because that is what's going to move you forward. That is what is going to propel you into helping you to ground again what you are manifesting, where your desires have been from 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, you know, because that cycle itself is releasing, just like the caterpillar. It's shedding its skin, something shedding greatly when it comes to the masculine energy, and the true sacred masculine is coming through. He is becoming the warrior of his heart, you see? And as he's becoming the warrior of his heart, he's becoming naked to himself. He's becoming naked to the world that he feels ashamed of what he has done to the feminine. He feels ashamed about what he has not spoken about before, and opening up to the truth. And now they're all being prepared to not only open up to the truth, but to start speaking the truth and embodying it, to be authentic, to be real and raw, you see? So it may come across as anger, and it's okay, because that's a part of the cycle of your transformation, you see? So don't let anyone tell you that you're not to speak up, because, you know, I've been hearing people saying, oh, why are you so angry? No, we're not angry. We're being passionate. And the voice is flowing through that feminine energy of compassion and fierceness at the same time. Love and bravery. See? That's right. Because you see, when you are really coming from that space of the war of the heart, that means that you're allowing yourself to speak your truth. You're still in love. You have unconditional love, but you're not going to tolerate the bullshit anymore either. Fuck out of here. Okay? I get it. See? The key is that when you're in the anger and the frustration and feeling let down, don't forget to go back to dancing and smiling and laughing and joking and being playful. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you play too much. You need to get serious. Because you see, all of that was that old patriarchal thing that you can only be serious in order to be productive. You can only be serious and, you know, and act responsible and be an adult and, you know, go do something else that'll bring you more money. You know, like you can't be silly and walk dogs and be passionate and be successful with that too, you know? Or that you're a man that always wanted to dance and do ballet, but you felt like, you know, you'd be judged and criticized because it'll make you feel like you're inferior if that only women do that, you know? You could be probably teaching yoga. You could probably be, teaching swimming classes. It could be so many different ideas. Whatever you're feeling, speaking out, writing your own blog as well. You know what I mean? Where your passion lies. And if you've been feeling and hesitating with it, now is the time, because the universe is supporting you. The universe is supporting us. We're free now. We're free. So even if the outer world appears like as if it may go against you, because that's just that trigger that comes from the past of when we were suppressed, when we were held down, where we were bludgeoned, slashed at the throats, heads cut off, burned at the stake, thrown across bridges, thrown over out of windows, thrown out of high places, plotted against, persecuted, criticized, judged, maimed, see, chopped up, Something got chopped up because it's always the nature of the beast. You know, they're looking for this beast and they keep putting out the beast is out there. Oh, the Illuminati, this and that. They're the ones who speak it out and judge. They're the ones. You know, they say he who knows it, right? When they say it takes one to know one. The beast is the 666, the man, the human element of how they operate, how they think. Huh? Protons, neutrons, electrons. Well, guess what? The new DNA is changing. That's what's upgrading right now. You're going through an upgrade. Upgrades. You see? An upgrade. And so a lot of times that as you go through the upgrade, people don't like what they see. They don't like what they hear because they don't like change. But that's tough titties. Everything's changing. It's changing all around. And this is a time where we're not only honoring the divine feminine, but the divine feminine is to honor herself and to know her value just as much as the divine masculine is to know himself and to honor himself and to also value himself and to value his union, to value his divine feminine as much as the divine feminine values it to her divine masculine, because both are working together now. We're working together hand in hand. We're on both sides of the coin now, you know. We're merged already. It's just a matter of being in that awareness and understanding that, knowing that. See, when you are shifted in consciousness, that means you're not thinking like, oh gosh, I didn't say the right words, so therefore I couldn't possibly be merged with my divine masculine because I don't physically see them. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do more so with where are you in consciousness? Where are you in what the truth is for you and your connection to the divine and knowing what is real and where it places you energetically? You see, that's the key. That's the key. So anyway, I just wanted to give this message and of hope, and not even just hope, but just inspiration, thought provoking. You know, time to seek to know who you are, seek to understand yourselves. Okay, remember that healing starts from within you. It always does. You're just a thought away from being as healthy as you could ever be, because the health itself is not even just the physical health, it's also your mental health, your thoughts, where you are in thoughts, okay, your emotional well-being, your emotional health. You see, do you feel that life is just you know, it's not fair? Do you feel that nothing good happens for you, or do you feel that all good things happen for you for the greater good and the greater cause? That no matter how it looks on the outside, that everything is perfect just the way it is. It's all in perspective. See? All in perspective. So I thank you so much for listening ears. We continue to have sacred listening and a sacred understanding of one another, and honoring. You know, the honoring is especially what I can think of. And I'm just gonna play this song that it's a reggae song actually, you know. Lift up your head. Yes. Love my music. You can't get it to play though. Trying to get it up. Here we go.